Hey guys, welcome back. Scott here with a new beer dissection video. Depending on when you're watching this, recently I had picked up I had ordered a New York State Craft Beer Alliance or Craft Brewery Association put together a first year that I've noticed it. This could have been the first year, it could have been the fifth year, I don't know. 24 beers for holiday cheer. They gave me this, it came in a shipment, a nice big box with an ice pack, I think there was even in there, with a nice little brochure here showing what they were trying to do, as well as little snippets about the beers and what breweries participated in there. So it seems like 24 breweries in the state of New York, craft breweries, farm breweries, whatever definition you want to give them, participated. They don't, I'm going to say donate. We had to pay for this, but they contributed one beer from their lineup to this pack. And I got to say, so far, even though I haven't finished all of the reviews yet, I'm not going to review probably all 24, but I'm going to have a bunch of them on my channel. They've all been very good. I think the lowest grade I gave, and I did give grades, was a B. Most of them were like B, A's. I mean, really solid beers. But if you just watch those videos, you'll understand a little bit more about the actual beer and what to expect from the beer, but phenomenal. And I'm going to try to, depending on when you're watching this, under the beer dissections, all the beers, I'm trying to label it with 24, on the title, 24 beers for holiday cheer. So if you're interested in those, they're New York beers. A few of the breweries are here on Long Island, some are in the Adirondacks, Buffalo, Hudson Valley, Catskill region, but they've all been really good. Even the B beer, which when I say the lowest beer, was still very good. I mean, no off flavors, nothing like that. So anyway, let me move on. The beer I have for you today is from Wild East Brewing Company. Now, this one I thought I saw it's also from Brooklyn, New York. There's a couple from Brooklyn, New York. 623 Sackett Street, Brooklyn, New York, Wild East Brewery. Okay. I'm sure I always stick in the front of the camera like I'm not going to have the picture over my shoulder, which I usually do. This is called Temperance. It's a dark, mild ale. There was one other mild ale that I reviewed. I can't remember which one it was and what brewery, but on this 24 beers of holiday cheer. Remember, mild ale, English mild ales. Mild was usually a descriptor because it wasn't really aged. It was a young beer. But again, I'm not going to go down that wormhole in this particular video, but you can look for that other beer in the state of New York. Again, I don't remember what brewery it was from, but like I said, there's breweries from Greenport on Long Island here, far east end, all the way up to Buffalo. So you get the idea that these there's a lot of breweries and a lot of beers covering a lot of mileage in this pack, and I recommend it. I don't work for them obviously, but I'm going to look for this next year. I was recommended by one of my local Merchantfield brewery. He's a beer geek as well as a brewery owner, and he told me about it because he knows I do this channel. So again, I have it in front of the thing, 24 beers of holiday cheer, and it came in a nice pack. The little snippets about the beer. On this one in particular, the little snippet it says it's dark mild. It's a 3.8% alcohol. Robust flavors, dry finish, good for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, basically. So they don't give you too much as far as what hops are being used. And on the can, it says, imagine a place virtually anywhere. Now think of a time, day and night. This English-style ale was to enjoy wherever, whenever, light in body, dark in appearance, low in alcohol. And that's like a lot of the English beers are sessionable. I mean, they started taxing English beers based on the original gravity of the beer. That's why you'll see English, like ordinary best and strong bitters being very roughly 3%, a little over 3%, up to 6%, and even Scottish ales are sitting there around, I think, 2.6 up to, I'm a little rusty on the numbers, up around 6%. So the lower gravity beers, unlike our American versions that always seem to overhop things and jack the ABV up percentage very high. So You know, this is probably being brewed to a traditional style if it's at 3.5%. Granted, it is in a 16-ounce can. But again, Temperance Dark Mild Ale from Wild East Brewing Company in Brooklyn, New York. Again, probably not too far from me. Think of Brooklyn Brewery with Garrett Oliver. And I think 6 Point is in brewery. But again, that's for another video. So let's crack this bad boy open and take a look at it. Remember, if you're interested in styles of beer, the BJCP, the Beer Judge Certification Program app is free. Download it. You'll learn a little bit more about these styles of beer, what to expect as far as the specs of IBUs, ABV, aroma, color, flavor, history, things like that, which I was studying when I was getting ready for Cicerone. And again, just for those that are Cicerones, understand, I took the written certified Cicerone, got a 94 on it. Due to some personal things, I haven't taken the tasting portion yet, but I'm ready. But I don't want anyone to feel I'm false advertising that I haven't finished that portion. But it's a long story. I'm not going to go into it on my beer channel. All right, even though I did really well in the written. All right, guys, let's take a look at this. I poured it pretty quickly. The head is fleeting pretty fast. You know, we do not have a very dense head there. They kind of look like more like soda bubbles on the top of this beer. You know, I'll take a picture of it when I'm done. Usually what I do is I take my picture that I have over my shoulder when I'm doing the video at the very end. I pour it more aggressively and see if the head will persist a little bit more. But we kind of have kind of a dark copper to light brown beer. Again, I don't know why it looks a little bit, maybe it's lighting. It almost looks like an amber color on the camera there. But on my end, I know there's some condensation on the glass. I really would have liked to serve this a little bit warmer, but there's some condensation on there. So that may be what's giving you a little bit of the optics that it's a lot lighter than it really is. But pretty looking beer. I mean, there's like this mahogany to like medium brown color beer looking in front of me here, even though the head is not persisting very well at all. And my glass is pretty, I did hand wash this, so it should be beer clean. So I don't want to blame it on the glass, okay? But maybe the protein content in the beer isn't very strong, and that's maybe what's contributing to the fleeting head. But I'm sure the brewer will maybe disagree, but I'm not going to go down that wormhole too much here. I wouldn't rate the beer negatively too much with a head fleeting like that. But anyway, let's take a sniff of the aroma. Wow, you got kind of like brown bread, almost like challah bread, pumpernickel bread. Light, there's a light chocolate, like kind of like regular milk chocolate on there. Maybe even like light roast, like coffee. Don't think a dark roast like a lot of stouts will be in some porters. But a little bit of a coffee roast. Get coffee on the nose. You know, a tinge of caramel. But coffee, caramel, little, again, light chocolate. And some nuts, like maybe some roasted, you know, walnut, basically aroma. Really nice though, overall, you know, very pleasant. Okay. Hop-wise, I mean, on beers like this, hops are not as important in the sense, I should say they're not important, they just don't contribute as much to the aroma and the flavor as, say, IPAs will be. So sometimes you don't get it, but I mean, if anything, there's a slight herbal component to it. I don't know if they're sticking to English-style hops, like, not Tettnang, East Kent Goldings, EKG, Fuggles, things like that, or an equivalent, you know, U.S. equivalent to it. But overall, very nice. It's just really, again, sorry, I'm just trying to take it all in. But there is like this baked bread, toasty bread crust kind of aromatics on there also, like pumpernickel. There's some minerality to it also. But it's really nice. It's really nice. But anyway, guys, cheers, Prost, if we were doing a German beer. Yeah, so a little colder than I would like. That's my fault. You know, I get these, and I had them sit in the pack, and I just threw in the freezer for a little bit. It'll warm up in my glass. You kind of get that nut, light caramel, challah bread, a very light chocolate, and kind of a light roast coffee flavors you get on this. Low, kind of low bitterness, which I was expecting. No alcoholic warmth, which you definitely wouldn't expect at 3-something%. On the aftertaste, I'm kind of left more nut, toffee, still residual chocolate. Carbonation is kind of, and it should be low. And it kind of is. It's kind of, I'll just say medium. It's a little bit more carbonated because over in England or the UK, they usually have it cask conditioned. A lot of times these beers are these dark milds. And they're put on a beer engine. They're pumping through a swan neck with a sparkler on the end. And the carbonation is usually very low on these. And they're usually served pretty warm, you know, like 52, 54 degrees. I've got mine a little bit colder than that. But overall, guys, really good. I think very true to style. I mean, one thing I inflicted on this was my own fault. Made it a little cold. If I have any other comments as this beer warms, I'll do the voiceover when I edit this. Really good. There's actually this like smoky quality to it. It's not like rock beer, like German rock beer smoke. You know, I don't think they're killing the malt, you know, with smoke on there, but with beech wood and things like that. But nice caramel, dark toast, challah bread crust, nutty toffee, just very pleasant. And knowing that it's at 3.5-something%, I would not hesitate to get a 6-pack of this because sometimes you just kind of you're up to here with the 9% IPAs and you want something. If you sat with me and drank many times, if I say I'm going to have 4 beers, which is a lot for me, I'm probably having 4 different beers. And like I can't drink 4 9% alcohol beers. I'd probably could take 1, possibly 2. I want something lower ABV. So I appreciate when breweries do these other styles of beer that are meant to be a lower alcoholic strength. They do them well. So anyway, guys, again, definitely no astringency. If you want to try something, you know, it kind of looks like a little bit like a brown ale. I mean, there are some similarities to the flavor profile and the aromatics to a brown ale. So, you know, you may have a hard time distinguishing between American brown ale and English dark mild, but this is pretty spot on for my training of dark milds. You know, low alcoholic strength, you gotta get that lower carbonation than normal. You get that slight caramel toffee without being overbearing, slight chocolate and light roast. It's kind of the lower ends if you're going into porter or brown ales and porters. If you're looking for that, something very sessionable, I would definitely take a look at this. Now, grade-wise, listen, overall drinkability, enjoyability. Again, I got to keep this in like, you know, I'm going to say A-. I hate saying minus because there's always a negative connotation, but my lowest beer that I think I've ranked on this 24 beers of holiday cheer has been a B. But maybe I could be a little bit more critical. I'll just say A- for overall drinkability. If I was going to rank it against dark milds, listen, one of the things that's tough to find in my local beer store is authentic dark milds from the UK. So I don't want to be too hard on it. I'm sure if I had those, I would bring it down to like a B+. But because I don't get a lot of them here, and there was one in New York, you know, look in my playlist for beer dissection. There's another dark mild, which I think I ranked pretty high too. This is great. I mean, I really, it's hard to say minus on it, but you know, I have to give a little wiggle room and be a little bit more, you know, critical of it. You know, there's, you know, let me just take one more sniff in the aroma before I go. Yeah, you just kind of get, there may be even a little dark fruit character in there. But again, just got it there. You kind of get that fresh, I'm a home brewer. Sometimes I'll take the grain, the chocolate malt, roasted barley, throw it in my mouth, chew on it. I feel like I'm tasting, you know, fresh beer that I just brewed myself. It's actually kind of dry too, by the way. There's not a lot of, you know, residual sweetness to this beer. But overall, really nice, guys. Again, I sound like a broken record on this pack because all these breweries have been really good. So anyway, today's beer dissection was from Wild East Brewing Company in Brooklyn called Temperance, a dark mild ale. Can't even imagine what it tastes like on tap, but really good. Like I said, I think I said A minus. And again, that's maybe be a little harsh. It's probably even like A plus, but I'm going to stay with my A minus because that was my first impression. And but that should not make you think that you shouldn't try this out. But anyway, guys, a little bit about this brewery, tiny bit about the brewery, a little bit about the style. This is not a what is style video, but I would highly recommend this beer. Again, I sound like a broken record with most of these beers in this pack. But anyway, guys, till the next beer dissection video or beer video in general, have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.